I'm Vexing, a YouTube strategist with over 3 billion long-form views, and this is a high-level concept that you can use to make an absolute ridiculous amount of money and get an insane amount of views, and that is medium and modality. So what are both medium and modality? Well, medium is how a message gets delivered. So on YouTube, you see tons and tons of content like this, right? Where you see, let's say this video right here, which is how you die on every planet from If. My friend Leander worked on this, another Dutch guy. And this is a 3D animation video describing how you would die on every planet. It's a really good thumbnail. And this particular video has millions and millions of views. As you can see, this thumbnail is great. But a different modality, or a different medium rather, would be Uranus versus Saturn. This is a 2D animation. Again, this video has millions and millions of views, and it's functionally the exact same topic and video idea. The only difference is the way in which it's presented, which is going to be 2D drawn animation, which is a popular style right now on YouTube, versus the more higher quality 3D stuff. And if we go down even further, we have another medium, which is it's done in Minecraft for a more younger audience, and a kind of a different representation here. As we can see here, we have like Minecraft, like compressed, and then like getting hit by diamonds here. And that is one thing that you need to understand. Oh, I've moved the thing. Whoops. And the reason why you need to understand this is that there is a ridiculous opportunity in understanding the specific medium in which you want to convey your message on YouTube, as well as the modality in which it gets delivered. And you can understand these two things, you can win the market 100% of the time as a new channel, as an up-and-coming creator. And this is something that I'm not seeing any other person talk about, whether it be like guru, expert, etc. Maybe it's hidden, maybe it's not, maybe no one knows because no one's really looking into this. So let's talk about modality. Modality is how you consume the content. So modality is how it gets experienced. If medium is how it's presented, and the way it's presented, modality is how it gets experienced. So modality is the consumption method in this case. I talk about this a lot in my comments. So again, here's that same thumbnail on if you were watching it on TV. This is kind of what it looked like. This is for a more long form audience. This is for a, let's say like on phone. So this is going to be for a shorter form audience. And then we also have computer here, and we'll get to what these arrows are going to in a minute. We have computer here, and this is kind of like an intermediate audience, both long form and short form consumption. So let's discuss what the opportunity is. It's an arbitrage opportunity. And I'll explain really, really, really easily. So what happened here on this video, and we can go down here to the arbitrage opportunity, is that this was sort of the original video, right? It was done in this 3D style, right? That's pretty high barrier to entry. There's a pretty significant moat around that already. If you don't have a team in place, it's hard to break in. So what people have done is they've made a lot of these 2D explainer channels, and there's tons. There's like Sketchy, Clevin, there's like a million of these guys that do these 2D explainer videos. And someone did Uranus and Saturn, which is the same title, it's the exact same title, which is how you die on every planet, which is the same as this, and it looks pretty familiar to the Neptune and Venus thumbnail from If by Leander, because it's the same idea, but it's done in 2D animation. So what someone's done here is they've done medium arbitrage, where they took one medium, being 3D, and they took that same idea, that same structure that had already done well, and did it in a 2D format, a 2D medium. And then someone did that and did it in Minecraft. So it's like, there's layers to it, right? In terms of how mediums are kind of like arbitrage. But by doing this, they were able to capture the attention market, which is a massive attention market in itself for this audience. Because not everyone's going to watch this. There's going to be a ton of people who watch the higher quality one, right? It gets served to them through browse and suggested. There's also going to be a massive audience who won't see that, but because they watch so much 2D content, they'll get recommended this in 2D. So this is effectively medium arbitrage by taking a working concept in one medium and applying it to your medium, right? It's the same thing with outlier ideation. This is just going a step further with medium arbitrage and focusing on outliers within mediums, and then applying it to an either more complex medium or easier medium. A great example is you see a lot of these 3D documentary channels. Those are almost always based on, in this case, like more old school faceless content where it's like stock footage and explainers here and there. And that's more of a 2D medium, not one-to-one 2D medium, but it's less like focused on animation. It's more focused on storytelling. They're taking that and they're applying a 3D coat of paint onto it. So you have a new medium arbitrage. And really interesting thing happens when you do this medium arbitrage. And I made a video Monday, which was like, just make good videos, bro. And people got a little bit angry on it. It's like, of course, make good videos. But this is what I mean by like really under-promising and over-deliver. If you take an idea that's really worked in one medium and you apply it to another medium and you execute it extremely, extremely well, and that is the if you execute it well, and you over-deliver upon the viewer's expectations based on the idea, in this new medium, you will print so many goddamn views, it's illegal. It's unbelievable how many people are just printing views left and right because they understand medium arbitrage. And like, it's only like a very select group of people that understand what this is, and they're taking so much advantage of it and getting tens and tens and tens of millions of views a month in long form, which is incredibly hard to do with new channels. The other is modality arbitrage. So, well, I'll show the modality arbitrage one in a second. So to go a little bit more in depth about modalities, it's the way you're going to consume it. And there's generally three primary ways you consume content. You consume it in long/ultra long form. You technically also can throw in podcasts and auditorial podcasts here. That's going to be the ultra long content. You then have phones. This is going to be your short form content. This is going to be your vertical content specifically. That's going to be your Instagram Reels. That's going to be your TikTok. That's going to be your YouTube Shorts. And the main focus on this content specifically is get viewers' attention and just kind of churn through the viewers' attention as fast as possible. And that is going to be your short form modality. And then you have computer, which is somewhere in between as long form. I'm a power user, so I tend to use computer. And I'd say probably like most people that are, I'm going to just throw it out there in the gaming space, tend to use computer, because if you're playing computer games, you're going to watch stuff on your computer. You're not going to watch it on your TV. It doesn't make sense. And just break this down. High watch time for TVs, long/ultra form content, and usually has the oldest audience. Phone is going to be the lowest watch time. Shorts and short long form videos. So these are going to be sub 10-minute videos, sub 20-minute videos on phone. That's just because you want to churn through as many videos as possible. And you want to get just through a ton of videos, so you're going to recommend more short form content. I'll literally have you run this experiment. If you have a TV at your house, go watch YouTube on TV, and I guarantee a few things are going to happen. You're going to get recommended way more 4K content, because it's going to be 4K native, and it's going to be better for the user experience to keep you on the platform for longer. So that's the first thing. You're going to get recommended way more 4K and 1440p content. That's number one. Number two, all that content is almost always guaranteed to be 30 minutes plus, because when you're watching TV in general, you're going to be fine with watching slower paced content. You understand what's going to happen, and you're going to watch those longer videos, which is why TV viewership is massively on the rise and why it's beating out Netflix, etc. Because most people have smart TVs. YouTube comes pre-installed. You watch longer form content on YouTube, and you win. Next up is going to be the oldest audience as well. Yeah, so back to phones, low watch time, short form, youngest audience, and then computer. Again, I think computer is essentially a weird demographic. I'm not going to get into the depths of computer because I have my own kind of thought process behind it. But I think the average computer user is probably the biggest power user in terms of diversity, in terms of audience, in which they watch and consume more content they consume. So they're the most diversified audience. And as such, you get weird skews between age groups, weird skews in terms of watch time per user. But yeah, it's mid watch time. Normally, you get sort of mid-tier, not mid-watch time tier videos, so not 2-hour plus videos. Occasionally you do, but more so 20 to 40-minute videos, maybe less. You kind of get the whole spectrum side, if you will. Generally going to be long form, and then you're going to have, like I said, a variable audience between ages. It's just a power, power user kind of platform. And if you know about that, and you know about modality, you can arbitrage modality as well as medium. So medium is one way you can arbitrage the audience. Modality is the other way, where you can find something that's trending on, let's say, short form content, and there's a massive gap on long form. You can present content on long form. So this is Dexecutioner. This is a guy on Twitter named Map. I hope I'm getting that right. There's another guy that also does Dexter content as well, who I think runs a chess base, or it's another guy that runs it. It's super interesting stuff over there. But yeah, Dexter's popping off. There's a video 3 months ago about a guy's why is Dexter popping off? And it was all these Sigma edits, kind of like the American Psycho edits back in the day. And they were then presented on these kind of long form or these short form platforms like TikTok and then Reels. Specifically, I think TikTok, and then it kind of bled its way over to YouTube because there's enough overlap there in terms of interest and audience demographics and audience profiles. And then people saw that and took advantage of it and created long form videos of this because they saw that popping off. So if I just sort by popular, this channel was crushing it. And all they did was just essentially do a modality arbitrage where they took the short form content that was sub 1 minute vertical formatted to 10 to 15 minutes on the more long form. So it's going to get presented more toward that audience that's on computer/TV, especially with these compilations, which is 123 minutes, 110 minutes. These are massive TV compilations. Even 26 minutes. I honestly say anything over 24 minutes is probably primed for TV audiences. That's 1 million views. This is 500,000 views, and this is 200,000 views. So as we can see here, Dexecutioner just did modality arbitrage, which is pretty cool. But there's a secret third thing, which I don't have here. And it's basically anything in this kind of gray area between medium/modality is you can find, let's say, 2D animation. A great example of this, probably the most principal example of this is Zach D Films, who, I'm not gonna say was inspired by it, but if you look at all the 3D content on YouTube that's done really, really well, he's the first big 3D creator who found this guy just popping off. He's looking at all this 2D content or this 3D content in long form, and he applied that 3D content in long form to a 2D modality, or not 2D modality, a short form modality. So he's doing 3D medium on a short form modality, which is the first to ever do it, and he gets something like 1 billion views a month, a number that's so absurd it doesn't sound real. And that is going to be the medium modality arbitrage. So that's way more high level, but that is where you can really blow the fuck up is you can find something that works in a medium and transfer it to a modality that it doesn't exist on yet. So it's a blue ocean, or vice versa, where you find something that's working specifically in a modality and bring it to a new medium. So let's say you see a bunch of these like 2D animations on prison escapes on short form content. You can just take that, make it 3D, and put it on long form. So it works both ways, and that's why there's this kind of like green area here, because it's really more so like I'm not gonna say a matrix, but more so of like what's the word? Membrane? There's probably like an intelligent word here, but you can essentially just take what's working in terms of modality, apply it to medium, and vice versa. Take like modality things that are not being done in certain medium things on modalities and crush. Dude, it's hard to say medium and modality. You get them mixed up a lot. But yeah, medium is how it gets delivered. Modality is how it gets experienced. This is like a little bit of like a ramble thing, but it's something that I find super interesting that like a few of the guys in the Wi-Fi Money Mafia have like kind of talked about, and it's something that I believe pretty heavily in, especially like in the context of like first videos, is when you underpromise and over deliver and you're doing one of these things, like it's really hard to fuck up. Like this is like almost fuck up proof. Like I'll put it that way. It's almost fuck up proof. I have tons of friends who've like, gotten into the 3D space, absolutely killing it. They're taking things they're finding gaps in the market via medium and or modality, and they're just exploiting it in new niches, and it's just going crazy. And this is also like niche, like not even niche specific. Like I have a friend who like did 1 out of 10 in like, you got a 1 out of 10 in the F1 niche doing 2D because there's no one doing that in that specific niche in that medium. So you can get like crazy granular with it. You can find like within niches, mediums and modalities to attack. So like there's kind of like an infinite level of blue ocean opportunities here. And everyone on Twitter is like, you should do this niche or you should do that. But like if you understand this concept between medium and modality, and then especially that you can apply it to like niches where like every niche has their own mediums and their own modalities, and then you can find a gap within that niche in their medium and modality, you can win very aggressively hard. I have friends that do this all the time. I probably shouldn't even be telling you guys this because it's like crazy advanced, and it's like, I'm not gonna say esoteric knowledge, but it's like stuff like the top 0.01% of guys that are doing it really well. So who knows, I might get some angry DMs about posting this. But yeah, use this to kind of your own purview, figure it out. It works. I know it works. I've seen it work a dozen times. And like the first people that like are actually able to like sit down and like figure out what I'm saying and make this an actionable thing for themselves are going to make so many fucking views. It's going to be unbelievable. So I hope that's you watching. And if it is, hey, comment below like 6 months now, like when you've made it, and then I'll have you on for an interview. Oh, look, my no calls thing popped up. Talk to you guys later. Peace.